Alright guys, welcome to this brand new roster notion for WWE 2K17, where we're going to be taking a look at the entire roster for this year's game. Now, there are a few notable exceptions, as we are missing Nia Jax, Apollo Crews, Shinsuke Nakamura and Goldberg, as they are all DLC this year, therefore they're not listed with the rest of the roster. So here we are on the title screen. Let's just press any button and we'll skip to the main menu. So you can see the lighting there, striking Brock Lesnar, just charging him up, energizing the beast. And here we are, this is the main menu, so we've got Seth Rollins on the play icon. Let's jump straight in, hit play, and then we'll have 101, the beasts, into normal match, and here we are at the selection screen. So here we go first, we're going to start on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, but we'll go back to the beginning, where we start with one half of the Vaudevillains in Aiden English. We have the phenomenal AJ Styles, who makes his debut this year, and he's followed by the returning Alberto Del Rio. Up next we have Alexa Bliss, who also makes her debut this year. Then comes Alicia Fox. Next up is former Women's Champion Alundra Blaze, who was DLC last year. Then we'll have Andre the Giant, one half of the Enforcers with Arn Anderson, and the current NXT Women's Champion Asuka. She's followed by the greatest man that ever lived in Austin Aries. Then comes Bam Bam Bigelow, followed by WWE's Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin. He's followed by Batista, and then we'll have Bayley, who makes her debut this year as the first of the Four Horsewomen. Speaking of Four Horsewomen, we'll have the second with Becky Lynch. Get ready to serve some hard time with the Big Boss Man. Then we'll see the New Day with Big E, the 7-foot-tall, 500-pound Big Show, and he's followed by Big Show 2, which is the Ruthless Aggression version from 2002. Following Big Show is one half of the New Age Outlaws with Billy Gunn. Then we'll have one half of an NXT tag team with Blake. Representing the Social Outcasts, we'll have Bo Dallas. Then comes the legendary Booker T, and he's followed by newcomer Braun Strowman with his leader, Bray Wyatt. Then comes the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be with Bret the Hitman Hart, followed by the loose cannon that is Brian Pillman. One half of the Bella Twins in Brie Bella, the legendary British Bulldog, and of course the cover star of WWE 2K17, the Beast himself, Brock Lesnar. Because one Beast isn't enough, we've also got a second with the Ruthless Aggression version of Brock from 2002. We'll have one half of the Dudley Boys with Bubba Ray Dudley, and then one half of the Bushwhackers with Butch Miller. Following him, we'll have one of the three faces of Foley with Cactus Jack. Then comes the Swiss Superman, Cesaro. Up next, we're Ready, Willing and Gable with Chad Gable. Then comes the WWE Women's Champion, Charlotte. The best in the world at what he does, Chris Jericho. And he's followed by a second version of Jericho with the 2001 version as the Undisputed Champion. Fellow Canadian Christian's up next as he's set for one more match. Then comes a guy that is 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. It is Big Cass, Colin Cassidy. Representing the Social Outcasts, we'll have none other than Curtis Axel, and then switching back to the Attitude Era, we'll have D'Lo Brown. Making her debut this year, we'll have Charlotte's bodyguard in Dana Brooke, and she's followed by the leader of the Yes Movement in Daniel Bryan. Next, we'll have one half of the Primetime players as we get set to make Darren Young great again, and he's followed by one half of NXT Tag Team Dash and Dawson with Dash Wilder. Then comes the Lunatic Fringe, the current WWE World Heavyweight Champion Dean Ambrose. Then we'll have DDP in the house with Diamond Dallas Page, and he's followed by the showstopper Dolph Ziggler. Get ready to boogie on down with the second face of Foley in Dude Love, the legendary iconic Dusty Rhodes, the second half of the Dudley Boys with Devon, WWE legend Earthquake, who joins the main roster after being DLC last year, and he's followed by the legendary Eddie Guerrero. Next up, we'll have the Rated R superstar Edge, the new look Ice Cold Emma, the realest guy in the room Enzo Amore, the Puerto Rican sensation Epico, and the third Wyatt family member with Eric Rowan. Next is a case of All Red Everything with Eva Marie, one half of the Acolytes with Farouk. Representing Breeze Dango, we'll have Go. Then comes former NXT champion and leader of the Balor Club. It is the Demon, Finn Balor. Fit Finlay returns with his WWE gimmick, one half of the Golden Truth with Goldust. Then it's time to get the party started as the Godfather returns to the series and he's bringing the whole train with him. Following the Godfather, we'll have another legend in Haku, the leader of the Social Outcasts, Heath Slater. along with NXT's recently returned Hideo Itami, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, the Honky Tonk Man, Retro Triple H with his Blue Blood gimmick as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the American Patriot known as Jack Swagger, WWE legend Jake the Snake Roberts, and completing Jordan and Gable we'll have Jason Jordan. Also completing the Acolytes we'll have JBL. Then comes one half of the Usos with Jey Uso, WWE legend Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and completing the Usos it is Jimmy Uso. Up next we'll have one of the joint rated highest superstars in the game at 95, it's none other than John Cena. Next we'll have one half of the Lucha Dragons with Kalisto. Then comes the Big Red Machine, Kane, who's followed by his retro version from 2001 with his Ruthless Aggression attire. Representing the club and making his debut in the WWE series, we'll have Carl Anderson, and he's followed by the world's most dangerous man in Ken Shamrock. Next we'll have one half of the Outsiders with Kevin Nash. Fight Owens Fight will have Kevin Owens, and he's followed by 1/3 of the New Day in Kofi Kingston. Then comes one half of the Ascension with Connor, before we see another WWE legend make his return to the series in your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. Also returning this year we'll have Larry Zbyszko. Then making a playable debut in the series after wrestling at WrestleMania, we'll have the Ravishing Russian, Lana. Despite retiring last year, Layla also makes her return to the series, and she's followed by the total package, Lex Luger. Next comes WWE Hall of Famer and legendary diva, Lita, a real man's man in Lord Steven Regal, and returning to the series after being in previously as Festus, we'll have the club's member, Luke Gallows. Then comes Wyatt family member Luke Harper, and completing the Bushwhackers, Luke Williams. Also completing the three faces of Foley, we'll have Mankind. Up next is the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, and he's followed by himself with the 2011 version of Mark Henry as he gets ready to induct members into the Hall of Pain. Next up we see another return to the series with Maurice, and she's followed by her husband, The Miz. The man in charge is next as we'll have Mr. McMahon himself, and then this guy is simply perfect, it is Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. We'll have the second half of Blake and Murphy with Murphy, BAD member Naomi, the Queen of Hearts, Natalya, and getting ready to take flight, we'll have the Angel of the North, Neville. Completing the Bella Twins, we'll have the longest reigning Divas champion, Nikki Bella, as well as the youngest ever Divas champion in Paige. Straight out of the Attitude Era, we'll have the Big Show, Paul White, along with the second half of the repackaged Los Matadors in Primo. Then comes the slightly confused R-Truth. Then we'll have the first of two versions of Randy Orton with the current Viper, who's followed by the 2002 version of himself as the Legend Killer. Up next we'll have the legendary Macho Man Randy Savage, and he's followed by two versions of Ric Flair with the current day Rick, along with the classic version from 1991 that was seen as DLC last year. Following Rick we'll have some more legends with Ravishing Rick Rude, and he's followed by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Then comes the Bad Man Rikishi, along with the second half of the New Age Outlaws in Road Dogg. Up next is the most electrifying man in the WWE 2K17 roster. We'll have The Rock, who's followed by his counterpart straight out of the Attitude Era with The Rock from 1999. Returning to the series after missing out last year, we see Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam, the legendary Hot Rod, Rowdy Roddy Piper, and the former WWE Champion, Roman Reigns. Get ready to crush with the Bulgarian brute, Rusev. Up next is a case of Eat, Tweet, Delete, Repeat with Ryback. Then comes Sami Zayn alongside the current NXT Champion, Samoa Joe. Next we have another superstar who recently retired in the Milan Miracle, Santino Marella, before completing the Four Horsewomen with the boss, Sasha Banks. Completing Dash and Dawson, we'll have NXT's Scott Dawson alongside the Outsiders' Scott Hall. Then it's a case of rebuild, redesign and reclaim with the returning Seth Rollins. WWE legend Sergeant Slaughter's up next before we see the return of the current day Shane McMahon. Next up we'll have Mr. WrestleMania Shawn Michaels along with a second version of Michaels from 1993. Then comes the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, the second half of the Vaudevillains with Simon Gotch, and the second half of the Lucha Dragons with Sin Cara. Despite recently leaving WWE, Stardust returns to the game after signing a Legends contract. Then comes the real boss lady in Stephanie McMahon. WCW legend Stevie Ray. And speaking of WCW legends, how about the icon Sting, with 3 versions, with the current day Sting, 1991 Surfer Sting, and the 1999 Crow version. Next, we're seeing last year's cover star and one of the biggest stars of the Attitude Era with Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's also rated 95 as one of the game's highest rated superstars. Following Stone Cold and not rated quite so highly, we'll have Summer Rae, alongside an early version of Stone Cold with superstar Steve Austin. Then comes BAD member Tamina, the legendary Tatsumi Fujinami, the second half of the primetime players in Titus O'Neil, and he's followed by 2 versions of the game with Triple H in the current day and also his Ruthless Aggression era attire from 2002. Then comes the legendary women's wrestler Trish Stratus, NXT star Tye Dillinger, the second half of Breeze Dango with Tyler Breeze, WWE legend Typhoon, the currently out of action Tyson Kidd, and the legendary Ultimate Warrior. Up next we'll have the Phenom, The Undertaker, and he's followed by 2 more versions of himself with the Big Evil Undertaker from 2002, as well as the Ministry Undertaker from 1998. Getting ready to drop a Vader bomb, we'll have Big Van Vader, alongside the second half of the Ascension, Invicta. Also recently in WWE, but still making the cut for the game, we'll have Wade Barrett, alongside NXT General Manager William Regal. Then comes D-Generation X's X-Pac, along with the New Day's Xavier Woods, and finally we'll have Long Island IC, Zack Ryder. So there you go guys, that is my roster for WWE 2K17. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. It seems to have quite a lot of people in there, so hopefully it's got everyone that you want to see. And a few notable exceptions with Nia Jax, Shinsuke Nakamura, Goldberg and Apollo Crews, they're all DLC, so they will be added to the game at some point. So it should be a pretty stacked roster this year. Anyway guys, that's all for now, but let me know your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe for more WWE news, concepts and gameplay in the run up to release. Until next time, have an awesome day, and I'll catch you later.